All right, let's talk about Google. Now, I know what you might be thinking. When it comes to investing in a company that huge, it feels like the story's already been written. But the bull case we're diving into today isn't about search or ads. It's about something much, much bigger hiding in plain sight. And hey, the author of our source material totally gets it. He basically kicks things off by saying, yeah, great job picking one of the most obvious stocks on the planet. He knows you're probably rolling your eyes, thinking the real money is in finding the next big thing, not the one that's already here.
But that's the whole point. This isn't about Google's dominance today. This is about a few enormous, high-risk bets that could completely redefine not just the company, but entire global industries over the next 10 years.
So, what is the core of this whole argument? Well, it hinges on a massive gamble, one with a potential upside that is almost hard to comprehend: quantum computing. This is the moonshot that could literally change everything. So, where do you even start with something that powerful? How about a multi-trillion-dollar industry like drug discovery? See, quantum computers can do something that's basically magic for today's machines. They can perfectly simulate how molecules interact. For creating new medicines, this isn't just a step forward, it's a quantum leap. And this is not some science fair project. There is a very clear path to making a ton of money here. Just imagine Google licensing out its quantum power through Google Cloud, charging companies like Pfizer for every simulation they run. Do you know what it's worth to them to shave even a few months off of developing a new drug? Billions. With a B. And this phrase just nails it. Think about it. Amazon Web Services became the invisible backbone for half the internet. Google could become the essential, must-have platform for designing the next generation of life-saving drugs. The scale is just mind-boggling. And it doesn't stop with medicine, not even close. You take that same incredible computing power and you point it at another giant industry: Wall Street. Financial firms spend fortunes on trying to model risk. Quantum computing could analyze markets with a speed and complexity that is just unimaginable right now. And once again, the business model is crystal clear. They could sell quantum finance cloud services to the big dogs: BlackRock, Goldman Sachs. And think about the competitive pressure here. The second one of those banks gets a quantum edge, every single one of their competitors has to buy in. It's not a choice anymore, it's about survival. But honestly, those first two industries might be small potatoes compared to this next one. The most critical and maybe a little scary application is encryption. You see, the same power that can build complex molecules can also break complex codes, the codes that protect pretty much all of our digital lives. And just look at the size of the market this creates. This is not an optional software update. Governments around the world are saying that all major encryption must be replaced before 2030. We're talking about a mandatory global security overhaul that could be worth well over $60 billion to the company that gets there first. And this is the ultimate power play. If Google is the first to solve this problem, they can sell the solution to everyone. They would literally control both the threat and the fix. They'd own the lock and they'd own the key, becoming the new gatekeeper for post-quantum security. So, why Google? What about IBM or other competitors? Well, it really comes down to two things, where Google is just playing in a different league: capital and talent. Quantum computing is a brutally expensive race that involves a lot of failures. Google has the deep pockets to fund it, and they have the brand to attract the smartest physicists in the world to come work on it. Now look, let's be realistic. Quantum computing is still a huge if. It's a gamble. A solid investment thesis can't be built on just one moonshot. So let's look at the other pillars of growth that are already much farther along. First up, autonomous driving. Now, Tesla gets all the headlines, but Google's Waymo has been playing a different, quieter game. And if you look at the metric that really matters, actual, real-world, fully driverless miles, Waymo is miles ahead. We're talking nearly 100 million of them. That's a data advantage that's incredibly difficult for anyone else to replicate. Okay, next up is something that sounds like pure science fiction, but it is already making real money: protein folding. For decades, figuring out the complex 3D shape of a protein was one of the grand challenges in biology. It was like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube with a million sides, blindfolded. And then Google's DeepMind just solved it. Their AI AlphaFold can now predict a protein shape in minutes with stunning accuracy. This wasn't a small step. It was like jumping a decade into the future. And they immediately moved to cash in, spinning up a company called Isomorphic Labs to sign billion-dollar deals with pharma giants. This is happening right now.
So you've got quantum, you've got Waymo, you've got AI drug discovery. All of these things sound amazing, but they also sound incredibly expensive. So let's get back to reality and look at the financial fortress that makes all of these big bets possible.
And we have to talk about the bear case. The biggest risk that everyone points to is that AI chat could disrupt Google's golden goose, its search business. The fear is that if AI just gives you the answer, you stop clicking on ad-supported links and their profit margins get squeezed. It's a valid concern, but then you look at the actual numbers. This company is a financial juggernaut. With over $300 billion in revenue and a 30% operating margin, it generates an insane amount of free cash flow. Google can easily afford to fund all of its moonshots without ever starving its core business. So when you put all the pieces together, what do you have? You have a core business that just prints money, and that money is being used to fund multiple other ventures, any one of which could become a trillion-dollar industry on its own. The author uses a great poker analogy to sum it all up. Investing in Google is like pushing a big stack of chips into the pot. The quantum bet is the all-in move to win the entire tournament. But here's the kicker. Even if that bet doesn't pay off, their other hands, Waymo, DeepMind, Cloud, are so strong they're still in an amazing position to win. And that really leaves us with the final question. When you invest in Google today, are you just betting on a stable, predictable giant? Or are you taking a calculated risk on a company that's quietly building the tools to completely dominate the next technological revolution? The answer to that question could define the next decade.